Hello, my creative collective. How are you? This is a burning question for Aries. So, your burning question is, how can I rewrite the story I tell about myself? The story that you've been telling yourself, Aries. Think about that for a minute while I bring us in and start this reading, okay? So, I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, so I'm pulling from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed, and we're going to dive into this here. Spirit, can I get some guidance for my wonderful Aries for wherever they are in their highest good, in their highest healing? Aries. I feel like I just have this vibe that Spirit's like, aw, Aries. I don't know what you're going through right now, but I feel like there's something really amazing on the other side of this. There has to be, right? No, I think there is, regardless. A change in the wind. Absolutely. A change in the wind. What other messages do you have for Aries, Spirit? Observer. I'm hearing as though Spirit was like, just watch me, like bringing you all of this awesome good stuff. So I feel like there might be some doubt. There might be a little bit of doubt. What's the phrase? Doubting Thomas? Never ending story. Yeah. I feel like that I get this vibe that you're kind of like, so I get this vibe from the never ending story card that came out last, that you're like looking at things that are happening to you and going, it'll never change. It'll never change. No way. And Spirit's like, just watch. So I almost feel like there's a way that I'm feeling like Spirit's very playful and frisky today. My guides have been like that today too. So a change in the wind. Observer. And never-ending story. So let's dive in here. We're going to clarify with the Smith-Waite Tarot. I'm quite excited for this. I'm pretty excited for this. Spirit, can you please clarify for my beautiful Aries how we can rewrite the story that we've been telling ourselves? The dominant story, be that a belief that has kind of gone inverse and started to harm us, regardless of what it's about. Spirit, can you give us guidance on how we are able to and how we need to intend to write and rewrite this story for ourselves, to place ourselves in the hero seat? Thank you so much. Queen of Cups. I feel like a little bit, whoa. I'm feeling right here, so I'm going to stop here, but I pulled out Queen of Cups, Temperance, and Five of Swords. I feel like you need to have a little more compassion for yourself, Aries. A little more compassion, and it's almost like you're seeing yourself as like a bit of a, not like a sore loser, but like a loser. And I think that can be the product of a really competitive environment. I think it's what you need to take from this are the lessons of loss. Like what did loss or perceived loss teach you, right? What did it have to teach you? And how can this make you better? Now, Temperance is the Sagittarius card, which is Jupiter, and that's the ninth house. And what I'm getting from this is just a sense of balance and coming back. I think that you need to balance this sort of, the change in the wind may be the way that you're doing things, right? So you're pulling back. Observer and High Priestess came out next. And to me, that's a big sign of pulling back. Observe, don't absorb. And I don't know if this is how, I don't know where you work or what you do, but I used to work in sales, and it was rough. Like, it was very competitive, and there would be incentives and all of these wonderful things for us if we, hit targets. And it's sort of like, it's an attitude that follows you, right? And it's very draining. And I think that it is, it makes it hard to relate to other people and to feel like we're being related to, right? It's very hard to be seen when you're in any kind of position like that. And even if you're just in a competitive environment, that can just be family, right? Like where, when I was a kid, I think my cousins and I, so our parents loved us very much. And, we look back now and laugh, but it was a very competitive environment growing up, right? So that can be a thing where you stop seeing yourself as enjoying a thing, and it sort of flips winning on its head. So you start to feel like you have to win at all costs. And you don't see yourself as having an experience and that being the goal. It's you see yourself as either winning or losing. And I think that this spread right here is the change that Spirit is inviting you to right now is related to having more compassion for yourself, but also making more decisions with your heart and from your heart. And I think that your ability here, Aries, is your gift. Your gift is being able to read people emotionally. I think that that's really the cups and temperance here, and that expansive energy. It's almost like that's what you're expanding into. I'm probably talking to empaths. I mean, I hope that's my quiet agreement with Spirit is that that's who is coming to join me on this channel is empaths. So I think that there's this shift where you're starting to see that this is really not, and this is one of the lessons of loss, right? This is for you, Aries, a way that you're starting to see that winning doesn't mean anything when it doesn't come from the heart. What is that victory, right? What is that victory? So it's almost like you're redefining goals, and this is you taking a step back. I'm seeing you take a step back and begin to reassess, because you're back in touch in a way, or you will be getting back in touch with, and this can be related to what you may have released during the Libra full moon, right? Is your relationships with others and balancing it. Yeah. And observing is sort of being able to witness your worry thoughts, being able to witness your anxiety without getting wrapped up in it, without getting identified with it. Because I feel like that's where we start to believe that we're in the midst of, or we're a character to this never-ending story, right? We start to believe that that's the only story, and it's sort of like stuck on a loop. But I think that when we start making more heart-based decisions, when we start to pull back and begin to ask ourselves, is this actually what I'm feeling? Or is this how I've been trained to feel? Is this how I'm feeling? Or is this based on an old belief and pattern? If I look at the situation and stay present with it, if I am entirely present right now, if I'm just here in this moment without focusing on the problem, what is it that is at the core of it? What is it that's at the core of it? I think when we start to ask ourselves questions like that and pull ourselves back into the moment, and I've been doing this for a while through things like A Course in Miracles, right? It talks about the special relationship, and special relationship just meaning the way that we identify others. Do you want this one as well? Yeah, so I think you're really, so Aries, this is beautiful. I think you're really healing relationships and the give and take, right? So it's almost like going from this like have to do things that you're not necessarily proud of. It's just that sort of like, well, is this success? Is it? Like it doesn't leave you feeling that great about yourself, because like you recognize that even though you've won, there are losers in this equation, where I think that you're shifting things to understand that it can be a win-win, that you can move into a win-win situation. And this can relate to work. This can relate to relationships, to friendships, what have you. Because there's a wonderful quote that I heard when I was going through my divorce. I was reading all of these books in and around like between 2011 and 2012, 2013. About relationships, to really understand what happened and how to make sure that it didn't happen again, right? And this reminds me of, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And that idea of not compromise necessarily, not compromise to your detriment, but like, what is the most important thing for you, right? Do you need to win? Do you have to be right? Or is it that you just, because I find that when you found friendships, when you found relationships, when you found things in your life that are settled and balanced, you don't need to win to have a point proven, because I think we get into that place when we're being invalidated, when we're not being heard. So we have to prove, it's like this constant proving that we are right for having our feelings. We are right. We have to validate ourselves. And sometimes we have to bulldoze others. And it's not healthy. And that's sort of how you can tell. And sometimes we think like, oh, well, I just need to be right. And sometimes that is a shadow thing that we have to work through. What I'm seeing here, though, for you, Aries, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I'm seeing that there's this healing that's coming forward. And I don't think it's been necessarily a pattern for you to do this, but a survival. Like, it's almost like a survival mechanism, because I'm getting never ending stories, like survival vibes. Tactical stuff that you've had to do to navigate really toxic relationships. And this can be with family, this can be with friends, this can be in any way, shape, or form that you swing it, right? So, Spirit, what other advice do you have for Aries in terms of rewriting this story? And this could also be about success too, okay? I'm going to stop shuffling for a second again and talk a bit here about success, where if we feel like we can only achieve success through this kind of mentality where there has to be a winner and a loser, and what it does is it takes our energy away, because we become so strategic, and 11:11 was just on the time. So we become so strategic, and it's sort of like this competition that we view things with. We can be competitive. For sure, we can be competitive. We can be in that competitive energy, but there's also a way that competitive energy dehumanizes others, right? It takes away their humanity, because that's how we, in this, I think that this is a call to balance this. And the thing is that this mentality in success, when it comes to our abundance, really reflects the fact that we do not believe there's enough good to go around. It reflects that we do not believe that there's enough good for one or two or three. Like, there's not enough. There's only enough for one. You know what I mean? And I think that the goal it changes how you participate in specific things, right? Because you realize that when the goal isn't to win, when it's like even a highly competitive environment, right? It doesn't do anything to move things to forward progress is really difficult to come from a heart space when we're holding all of these swords that we won. But I almost get this vibe of like losing friends along the way. Like, what does success mean? If you have to sell your soul, right? This is almost how this card is coming across. If you have to sell your soul in order to be successful, what does that even mean? Because this is all it's going to do. This is how it's going to throw you. Like, you have all these on your wall, right? You have them all on your wall. You're showing off all your accolades and accomplishments. But what does it actually mean? Because if it doesn't give you this sense of satisfaction emotionally, this sense of deep healing, then what was the purpose exactly, right? So I think that you're asking yourself, Aries, these questions. And in terms of relationships too, if we're accustomed to not having our needs met, or having to jump through hoops or debate the most basic needs, right? To prove and make like PowerPoint presentations practically just to have our needs met, we are in a position where we start to adopt those behaviors other places. And this is where, after relationships end, it's important to spend a period of time clearing your energy of what happened in those relationships. Because if we don't, we end up carrying those habits. And honestly, sometimes it's really toxic relationships. So if we do things like leap right into a relationship, this is almost a call for you to take a moment and take a minute. So I'm going to leave this in the reverse now that this story is coming through much clearer. The Knight of Cups came out in reverse, and I almost feel like if you tell yourself this story of success and the way things are for you, Aries, it's almost like it's going to become a never-ending story. And it's not just love that can't find you, but emotional satisfaction, connection. This is, passions and ideas. These are heartfelt messages, right? This becomes more about the chase, and it's disconnected from it's disconnected from the heart space. So this is like flirtations, almost like the way I see it is like cat calls compared to subtle flirtations, right? So it's like, and it's almost like it's so gross when that happens. Ugh. Cat calls are my least favorite. Ugh, it's so disgusting. Some people like it though. So some people feel like it doesn't trigger them at all. But yeah, I think like my feminist self is like, oh, hell no. So I don't know. But again, everybody's different, right? So some people it doesn't even faze them. They like the attention. They feel flattered by it. And that is theirs, right? What I'm talking about here is the way that it can be like a crashing in your face thing, right? I'm not talking about the value, the moral judgment about catcalling here, even though I kind of did for myself. So if I offended anyone, it wasn't my intention. But this here, what I'm talking about is the crashing in of things, right? Catcalling is very in your face, whereas subtle flirtations to me are like everything. It's just, and that's the difference, right? It's like it can't necessarily find you in the subtle ways that might, I'm getting the image of smoke wrapping around a finger. Like it's like it wraps around you in a way that's really subtle, but kind of nice. Right? So I think that that's where, if this is about relationship, it's almost like you can't, it's hard to flirt from that heavy place because what are you flirting with? What are you flirting around, right? What are you flirting? How does that land? Because flirting is like this light and playful energy where you're like, hey, and you're interacting in this really playful manner. What I just heard, I saw this on the split, and I just heard you really have to decide what you want. You have to decide what you want, Aries. This is general, not just romance. This is everything. This could apply to anything you brought to this question. You have to make a decision. And I think once you decide, once you know what you want, my darlings, then what's going to happen here is it's going to become, the method becomes clear when the outcome is clear, right? I heard the scientific method, of course, I'm a big science geek, but like I heard the scientific method and methodical and hypothesis. You're testing a hypothesis, and to do that, you have to understand what that is, right? You have to understand where you're going. You have to understand that. Yeah, this is almost like the scientific. This is like the hypothesis proving true, right? You put in the work, you test the hypothesis, and then woohoo, it comes out like great. Perfect. This is beautiful results. This is like legacies. This is being part of something bigger than you. You step into that sense of wholeness and completeness, sustained bliss. This is like marriage vibes, that kind of thing, right? But I'm getting first that you have to decide what you want, not just in a person. Don't make a laundry list for a person. Make a laundry list for yourself, and the person that you attract will match those vibes, right? We're not asking people to become things to serve us. We are becoming things to serve others, and we find people along the way that resonate. That is how you do relationship. That sounded so intense when I shuffled the deck like that. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, yeah. Like the deck has spoken. I don't even know. Spirit, can I get some more clarification here on this Knight of Cups? And how Aries can rewrite the story they've been telling themselves. Yeah, this is the clarity piece, right? This is the clarity. A Magician was on the bottom of the deck. Magician was on the bottom. This is clarity. This is you. Once you're clear, I almost feel like, so something I've been working on is related to business stuff. And once you define your target audience, everything else tends to fall into place in terms of your how. Even if you've been struggling with your how, like it's a whirlpool that you're trying to kayak or canoe through, right? And it turns into like whitewater rafting. It just, everything starts to flow differently when you know who your audience is when you're in business. And I think that when you know what your outcome is, this is where it's very similar. Otherwise, when you know what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what you want to create with someone, what you want that relationship to look like. When you understand all of those things, that clarity brings in the right things. I don't know where all of this is coming from. Aries. Okay. Yeah. I think that I think they're going to find that it's very clarifying, very clarifying about, it's almost like I'm getting that this clarity is almost like a spiritual practice for you. And it's like you're breaking free from the way that things have been done before and that never ending story. So Aries, I mean, this is telling me that there's a pretty big unfolding related to career and love as well. Because the high priestess and the star are here with the 2 of cups. But what I'm seeing here is that you first have to decide, and then you will know. There will be a knowing. High priestess, observe. You have to pull back from what you've been doing. This is like the status quo, and the Hierophant is here to kind of tell me that it's sort of right now observing. You are your own teacher right now. You are, look at what's happened. Look at the situation that brought you to this question. Okay. And that you are your own teacher right now. This tends to be a teacher for others, but the way I'm seeing it with the high priestess right here is that you are your own teacher right now, which is amazing because that means that you don't really have to conform in the same way that you might have to situations where you felt compelled to be outside of your compassion, right? Change in the wind. The 12 is the Hanged Man in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, but this is sort of what anchors this row here. So when we have a change in the wind, this tells me that there's healing taking place, but there's got to be an observation. So it's almost like, and this is great journaling practice, journal fodder. I sang it like it's a thing, like there's a meme about it, but no, I just felt like singing it. I think that this is a really great reflection, and something to take a look at is how do you handle conflict? What does conflict mean to you, Aries? And I know that's very, very, stereotyped Aries, like, charge forward, Mars energy, like. But I think that what this spread is in particular saying is that there's a way that you have been doing things before that you will only see when you pull back and observe. And in order to manifest what you really want and the clarity that will come, you will get clarity, but first you have to pull back and see, right? This week in particular, I can attest to this process. It's a bit different for me, but this week I haven't really been doing a whole lot related to the channel, right? I've been doing more to take care of myself and go within, doing Akashic sessions every day, connecting with my guides, channeling, automatic writing, being out. The sun has been out a couple times, right? So pulling back and doing things unrelated to, I guess, like your work is profoundly healing, because what it does, and I think about this as your work, this can be your work, this can be your relationships, this can be family, this can be friendships, again, whatever you're bringing to this question. When you pull back, then you can dive in, and it's not diving in out of obligation. It's not diving in out of this like 5 of Swords or this 9 of Swords energy. You're diving in from a place of the star and the 2 of Cups, because you're sort of reinvigorating and breathing life into something, if not just breathing altogether, right? There's like this inhale that's really sharp and then exhale right here. And that's what I feel like is really bringing in all of this clarity. So Aries, just breathe, okay? Breathe, my darlings. Okay, I'm going to pull from the chakra deck, and then I'm going to pull from my Abraham Hicks deck, and we'll get there. Spirit, do you have what messages do you have for Aries related to their question and how they can rewrite this story? And also, something that I just want to say too, the Page of Swords is the writer, right? If there's a writer in the minor arcana, this is it. So this is really about you rewriting the story of the way that you relate to others, relative to the status quo that you've built up, right, for yourself. Spirit, can I get some messages for Aries? Both of them? Okay. Abundance and loving relationships. Yes, indeed. I gather easily and effortlessly all that I need to support, nourish, and comfort me. I focus my attention upon all that I am grateful for. There is an abundance of nourishment, support, and love for me. I have. Okay. And then loving relationships. I open my heart to love and joy and more gracefully through my relationships, and move gracefully through my relationships, I should say. It is safe for me to feel love for myself, life, and others. I allow universal love to permeate every cell of my body. I am worthy of love. I am loved. I choose love. Yes. That's this change in the wind and the Queen of Cups and the Temperance card with the High Priestess. This is all here with the Star and the 2 of Cups. You're choosing love, Aries. You're choosing love. So this is the law of attraction. This is an older Abraham Hicks deck that I've had for some time, and it is the career and money deck. So I thought I would do something specific for those of you bringing those kinds of questions to this space. So let's dive in. Money is not the root of evil or of happiness. There's a little bit of neutralizing here. Money is not the root of evil or happiness. It just is. It's an energy. This important subject of money and financial success is not the root of all evil, as many have quoted, nor is it the path to happiness. So when you are able to successfully control something like the subject of money that affects you all day, every day, you will have accomplished something rather significant, for not only is it certain that your financial success must improve, but the evidence of that success will then prepare you for deliberate improvement in every aspect of your life experience. Big, like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything vibes. And I'm going to pull from the Journey of Love deck by Alana Fairchild. No, it's the Journey of Love deck. I think it's Alana Fairchild. My brain. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to make sure. Indeed. Indeed, Alana Fairchild. I was confused because I was thinking of the different authors on the front there, but Alana Fairchild. Okay. Spirit, what messages do you have for Aries regarding rewriting their story related to romance, if that's what they brought to this question, and even just relationships in general? How are we doing emotional connection? How can we rewrite those stories? Thank you so much, Spirit. 3 to 1. 3 to 1. I'm going to read you that one because I have my own interpretations, but when I was reading through this book, it was worded so profoundly well. Okay. There is a heavenly child in your midst. It may be within your heart, in your womb, or a glimmer in your eye soon to be. This child holds the key to the fulfillment of a process that is happening for you now. The child might be a physical culmination of your marriage or commitment to another. It might be a symbolic birthing of a new self after a time of learning to bring male energies of protection and discernment together with female energies of feeling and creativity. Feeling and creativity, whether within yourself or in your relationship with another. The child might symbolically be a new life, an improved relationship, a book, a new job, a completely renewed way of dealing with what was once a challenging issue and so soon will not be an issue for you anymore, just to name some examples. From masculine to feminine to child, there is now just one, a new reality dawning with grace. This oracle holds a message for you. New life is upon you now. You are being reborn and you will give birth to what is meant for you in this lifetime. There's no need to worry. Just pray with an open heart that you may be supported to fulfill your destiny. You already are, of course, but prayer can help you realize it. The rest is in the loving and capable hands of the divine. So that's beautiful. And then, of course, I'm going to pull from the Miracles Now deck. It's not my reading if I'm not doing a Miracles Now pull, right? Spirit, can I get some messages here for Aries? The key to getting what I want is to ask for it. Yeah, this is really, I think this is pulling back, being able to see the big picture and going within, knowing what you want and that you can have it, right? I have. I think that you have to know that that's possible and to really see. This to me is a big picture card, similar to the High Priestess. A lot of High Priestess energy here, Aries, which doesn't surprise me because I find that when we're in our seasons, I find that we connect to our inner High Priestess more. This may just be me, but I'm a January baby, like the end of January. And I find that in the winter, that particular time is so, I'm very connected at that time during my season, right? And I know that this was just your season. We're moving through it, and into Taurus on the 19th. And yeah, I'm just getting this, I'm hearing reinvigorated. I'm hearing Phoenix rising from the ash. Interesting. So the key to getting what I want is to ask for it. What do you have to do to ask for it? You have to know. You go within first. So, Aries, I hope that this resonated for you. If it did, please like and subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel. And of course, I love giving you this content. So 2929 was just on the time. And I feel quite humbled to be able to do this for you. It means a lot to me. And with all of the new subscribers to the channel finding this space, I'm very, very grateful for that. And I will see you on the next one. But if you want to connect with me sooner than that, do check out the daily readings, the energy readings, all the stuff that we have on the channel here. And you're more than welcome. I'm very appreciative of your presence here, Aries. So if this is where we part, enjoy your week. Take care.